One sunny morning, I decided to take a bus for a day trip to explore a new city. The idea of traveling by bus had always intrigued me. There's something about watching the world pass by through the window that gives a sense of calm and adventure at the same time. That day, I was particularly excited to take in the scenery and discover a place I had never been before. As I arrived at the bus station, I saw buses lined up, each ready to whisk travelers off to different destinations. I bought my ticket and boarded the bus, choosing a window seat near the middle. It was the perfect spot, close enough to the front to have a good view, but far enough back to feel cozy. The seats were comfortable, and the atmosphere inside was peaceful. Passengers were settling into their seats, some chatting quietly, while others were already gazing out of the window, lost in thought. As the bus began to move, I felt a slight thrill. I loved this feeling, the start of a new journey, the excitement of the unknown. The city slowly faded into the background, and soon we were on the highway, surrounded by green fields and open skies. I leaned back in my seat, happy to let the rhythm of the bus and the changing landscape guide me on this adventure. After about half an hour, the bus passed through a small village. The houses were quaint, with red-tiled roofs and gardens full of blooming flowers. I watched as people went about their day, some walking down the streets with bags of groceries, others sitting outside cafes enjoying the sunshine. It was a peaceful sight, and I imagined what it would be like to live in such a serene place. The bus continued on, and the scenery changed once again. We were now driving alongside a river, its sparkling waters reflecting the sunlight. I opened the window slightly to feel the fresh air and listen to the soft hum of the engine. It was a perfect moment, and I felt lucky to be on this journey, far from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. As we crossed a bridge, I spotted a couple of boats gently drifting along the river. There was something poetic about the way they moved, slowly and effortlessly, as if they had all the time in the world. I made a mental note to return to this area one day to take a boat ride of my own and explore the river more closely. The bus made its first stop in a small town. A few passengers got off, and a few others boarded. I took the opportunity to stretch my legs and look around. The town had a charming square with a fountain in the center, and small shops lined the streets. People were walking around, chatting, and enjoying the sunny day. I wished I had more time to explore, but I knew the bus would be leaving soon. Back on the bus, I settled into my seat again, feeling relaxed and content. The journey continued, and we soon left the town behind. As we drove through the countryside, the rolling hills and vast fields seemed to go on forever. I could see farmers working in the distance, their tractors moving slowly across the land. It was a peaceful sight, one that reminded me of how vast and beautiful the world is. About an hour into the journey, the bus climbed up a steep hill. The road was winding, and with every turn, the view became more and more spectacular. From my window, I could see the entire valley below, dotted with small farms and cottages. The sky was a brilliant blue, and the air felt crisp and fresh as it rushed in through the open window. As we reached the top of the hill, I noticed a small church perched on the edge of a cliff. It looked ancient, with weathered stone walls and a tall steeple. I imagined how many travelers had seen that church over the centuries, each one marveling at its beauty as they passed by. I made another mental note to visit the church if I ever came back to this area. The bus continued along the winding road, descending into another valley. The scenery changed once again, this time with dense forests lining the sides of the road. The tall trees cast long shadows across the road, and the sunlight filtered through the branches, creating a magical, almost ethereal atmosphere. I found myself mesmerized by the play of light and shadow as we drove deeper into the forest. Suddenly, the bus came to a stop in a small clearing. The driver announced that we would have a short break before continuing the journey. I decided to step outside and stretch my legs again. The air was cool and refreshing, and the sound of birds chirping filled the forest. It felt like a hidden oasis, a place where time stood still. After the break, we continued our journey, and the bus soon emerged from the forest. The road opened up to reveal a breathtaking view of the coastline. The blue ocean stretched out as far as the eye could see, and I could hear the distant sound of waves crashing against the shore. It was a beautiful sight, one that made me appreciate the joy of traveling by bus even more. We drove along the coast for a while, and I spotted a few small beach towns along the way. The sandy shores were dotted with colorful umbrellas, and people were enjoying the sunshine and the water. I imagined spending a lazy afternoon on one of those beaches, soaking up the sun and listening to the sound of the waves. As we neared our destination, the landscape changed once again. The rolling hills and beaches gave way to tall buildings and bustling streets. We were entering the city, and I could feel the excitement building inside me. The bus wove its way through the traffic, and I could see people hurrying about their day, each one with their own destination in mind. Finally, the bus pulled into the station, and I knew my journey was coming to an end. I gathered my things and waited for the doors to open. As I stepped off the bus, I took a deep breath and looked around. The city was alive with energy, and I couldn't wait to start exploring. I walked away from the bus station, feeling a sense of accomplishment and gratitude. The journey had been peaceful and refreshing, giving me time to reflect and appreciate the beauty of the world around me. Traveling by bus had allowed me to see places I would have otherwise missed, and I felt a deep connection to the landscapes I had passed through. As I began my exploration of the city, I couldn't help but think back to the moments on the bus, the quiet villages, the sparkling river, the winding roads through the hills, and the breathtaking coastline. Each part of the journey had been unique, and I knew it was an experience I would cherish for a long time. The city was vibrant and full of life, but part of me longed to be back on the bus, watching the world go by from the window. There was something peaceful about that time on the road, a feeling of freedom and adventure that I knew I would seek out again in the future. For now, though, I was excited to see what this new city had to offer. The bus journey had been the perfect prelude to a day of exploration, and I felt ready to dive into the heart of the city, knowing that my love for travel would continue to grow with each new adventure.